If you think every future NFL legend's a five-star recruit, destined for greatness from day one, well, Luke Kuechly didn't get that memo. Remember his legendary game against the Saints in 2013, where he had 26 tackles? Or those incredible playoff pick sixes against the Seahawks and Cardinals in the 2015 season that helped propel the Panthers to Super Bowl 50? Before the bone-crushing hits and astonishing plays, he wasn't just a quiet kid in Cincinnati. He was about to change how the game was played. You might have heard of gifted athletes, the guys with freakish speed and size. But what about a football genius?
Ain't nobody know you.
Hailing from St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati, he was a key part of a state championship team. But college recruiters weren't exactly lining up at the door. He was just a three-star recruit, rated the number 44 outside linebacker in his class. He wasn't a freak athlete. What he had was a brilliant football mind that he had to train and perfect. His choice of Boston College wasn't about glitz and glamour, but about finding a program that fit him. When he arrived on campus, he wasn't immediately dominant. By his own admission, he got his teeth kicked in by older, stronger teammates.
I went in there, I was 18 years old, playing against guys that are 22, 23. You get your teeth kicked in and you figure out how bad you want to do it.
But this adversity fueled his greatest asset, his preparation. He dedicated himself to film study, learning to dissect offenses and predict plays like a seasoned veteran, a skill he developed with the help of a savvy defensive back teammate. That hard work paid off spectacularly. He went on a historic 3-year tear, leading the entire nation in tackles in both his sophomore 183 and junior seasons 191. Over just 3 years, he amassed 532 career tackles, which ranked second all-time in NCAA history. He earned multiple major awards, including the Bronco Nagurski Trophy and the Butkus Award. Kuechly proved that instincts honed through tireless film study could make you the most dominant player on the field. Did the pros take notice of the college tackle machine? Absolutely. The Carolina Panthers took Luke Kuechly with the 9th overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft.
The Carolina Panthers select Luke Kuechly, linebacker, Boston College.
The team already had a respected veteran middle linebacker in John Beeson, so Kuechly started his career at outside linebacker. He wasn't the vocal leader from day one, but he was a sponge, soaking up knowledge from older teammates and coaches. This quiet preparation was the key to his next move. Early in the 2012 season, Beeson went down with a season-ending injury, and just like that, the rookie was thrust into the pivotal middle linebacker role. It was a massive responsibility for a 21-year-old on a struggling defense, but Kuechly didn't blink. His meticulous film study allowed him to make the leap seamlessly, and his production exploded. He ended up leading the entire NFL in tackles with 164. Becoming the first rookie since Patrick Willis in 2007 to accomplish that feat. His incredible performance included a career-high 16 tackles in a Week 14 upset win against the Atlanta Falcons and 59 tackles in the final 5 games. The Panthers' defense, which had floundered earlier in the season, grew stronger with Kuechly at the helm, finishing the year with a 4-1 record over the final 5 games. The league took notice, and Kuechly was named the Associated Press Defensive Rookie of the Year, beating out Bobby Wagner. He wasn't just a producer, he was a leader, bringing consistent, high-level play to a defense that desperately needed it. That rookie season was a statement, but what he did next cemented his place among the all-time greats. After a Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign in 2012, most players would take a victory lap. Luke Kuechly, well, he was built different. In 2013, he didn't just meet expectations, he blew them away, proving his genius wasn't a one-year fluke. He was crowned the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year, making him just the second player in NFL history to win Defensive Rookie of the Year and then Defensive Player of the Year in consecutive seasons, an achievement he shares with the legendary Lawrence Taylor. What did that take? For starters, well, it was another monster statistical year. 156 tackles, 2 sacks, and 4 interceptions. But the real story was the impact on his defense. Under Kuechly's leadership, the Panthers' defense transformed into an absolute powerhouse, finishing the season ranked second in the NFL in both total and scoring defense. This was a remarkable turnaround for a unit that had been far less effective just a year before. The defense's dominance propelled the team to a 12-4 record and their first NFC South title in 5 years. Kuechly's genius was on full display in a pivotal late-season game against the rival New Orleans Saints. He put on a masterclass, recording a franchise record 26 tackles, which put the Panthers in a position to win the division. That level of performance at that critical moment is what separates the stars from the legends. But wait, you might see a highlight of Luke Kuechly making an impossible interception, and you think, wow, what instincts. But those weren't just instincts. They were countless hours of meticulous, obsessive film study paying off. This was Kuechly's superpower, the mental edge he forged in the film room, where he worked longer than many coaches. His former head coach Ron Rivera compared him to legendary quarterback Peyton Manning in terms of preparation. Kuechly didn't just watch the tape, he mentally replayed the game from every player's perspective. He looked for tendencies in offensive linemen's stances, subtle shifts from running backs, and the eye movement of quarterbacks. He even once told a podcast that he would go back and watch the television copy of games to catch signals that didn't show up on the coach's film. This isn't an exaggeration. Well, if you ask his teammates, they also confirmed it. Tight end Greg Olsen famously joked that practicing against Kuechly was a nightmare because he knew every play that you were going to run. He had an uncanny ability to call out the opponent's play before the snap, a feat that would astound and frustrate offenses. This was all by design. Kuechly knew he wasn't the fastest or the strongest, so he found another way to dominate. He used his mind to anticipate plays and gain that precious half-second advantage that separates good players from all-time greats. That's why he always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. What some called luck, Kuechly called hard work. So, you might have seen many dominant defenses in the NFL, but do you remember the 2015 Carolina Panthers? It was a time when Cam Newton was busy winning the MVP and taking headlines, while Luke Kuechly was leading a defensive freight train that rumbled all the way to a 15-1 regular season record. And the crazy part? Kuechly had missed 3 games with a concussion, and yet he was so impactful that he was voted first-team All-Pro, finishing the year with 118 tackles and 4 picks. But stats only tell part of the story. His presence alone fundamentally changed how offenses had to operate. The defense finished the season ranked 6th in the NFL, a testament to Kuechly's continued impact and leadership. His postseason, though, was where he truly put on a clinic. Kuechly became the first linebacker in the Super Bowl era to return an interception for a touchdown in 2 different playoff games, an absolutely unheard of feat. In the divisional round against the Seahawks, he picked off Russell Wilson and took it to the house. The very next week, in the NFC Championship game against the Arizona Cardinals, he did it again, returning an interception off Carson Palmer for a score that put the game on ice. This wasn't luck. It was a perfect combination of tireless film study and flawless execution. He read the quarterback's eyes, jumped the route, and turned a potential big play for the offense into a demoralizing touchdown for his defense. But with all that incredible success, what was the one moment that really defined the 2015 season and Super Bowl 50 for Kuechly? You might be surprised. While his playoff heroics were legendary, the Super Bowl was a tough loss. Even for the most brilliant minds, some battles just can't be won. The relentless physical play that defined his career had a dark side, one that would ultimately end it far too soon. The concussions started adding up, forcing him in the league to confront the grim reality of head trauma. The first documented instance came in the 2015 season opener, sidelining him for 3 games. A year later in 2016, a particularly severe concussion was broadcast for all to see. The image of a visibly emotional Kuechly being carted off the field, tears streaming down his face, was really an emotionally shocking moment that humanized the devastating cost of the game. He later shared on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast that after a game late in the 2019 season, he realized something had changed. He wasn't feeling the same after a hit. He knew deep down he couldn't play with the same fire and physicality anymore. This wasn't a choice he made lightly. He loved the game, but he also recognized the immense risk. He said, "Once I knew it was my head, I'm like, it's either yes or no." This was an unsparing admission that his mind, the very tool that made him a superstar, was also what forced him to reckon with his own limitations. Even the smartest players can't outsmart physics, and that harsh reality set the stage for one of the most courageous and shocking retirements in NFL history. Surely it was hard for fans to accept, but can you imagine what it was like for him? Just think of being at the absolute peak of your profession, widely considered the best at what you do, with a massive contract, guaranteed money, and years of top-tier play still expected. That was Luke Kuechly in January 2020. Yet at just 28 years old, he made the unthinkable announcement, retirement. But this wasn't about a contract dispute or a new team. It was about something much deeper. He later reflected that he couldn't play the game fast, physical, and strong anymore. This wasn't just a physical issue, it was a mental shift. He knew he couldn't deliver the same level of commitment and effort that had defined his legendary career. This decision wasn't just shocking, it was incredibly brave. Kuechly walked away from millions of dollars, nearly $22 million, had he played out the next 2 seasons, to prioritize his long-term health and well-being. He didn't explicitly detail the concussion history in his initial announcement, but he alluded to not being able to continue at the high standard he set for himself. This showed incredible self-awareness and integrity, choosing a future without the constant physical toll over continued on-field glory. His retirement sent ripples across the NFL, adding a powerful voice to the growing conversation around player safety and the impact of head trauma. He became another high-profile example, alongside players like Andrew Luck and Chris Borland, who chose to leave the game early to protect their future. Kuechly's exit wasn't a retreat, it was a statement, prioritizing himself and inspiring others to consider what truly matters. Luke Kuechly's story didn't end when he walked off the field. After shocking the NFL with his retirement, he initially tried staying connected to the game in a new way, joining the Panthers front office as a pro scout for the 2020 season. It was a chance to apply his famous football intelligence to evaluating talent, but it wasn't a long-term fit for him. True to his character, he recognized it and moved on. Since then, Kuechly has continued to influence the football world and beyond. He joined the Panthers radio broadcast team, where he can still break down the game with his unparalleled insight. He even added college football analyst duties for CBS Sports, further showcasing his analytical prowess. But his biggest impact outside the game might be related to why he retired. He became an ambassador for the Q-collar, a device designed to potentially reduce brain injury risk, which he wore during the latter part of his career after his high school team had used it. This commitment to player safety is a powerful extension of his personal experience. And what about his place among the greats? His resume speaks for itself. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, 7 Pro Bowls, and 5 first-team All-Pro selections, all in just 8 seasons. He's considered one of the best linebackers of his generation, was a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility, class of 2025. He's likely to be enshrined soon, securing his permanent place in Canton, Ohio. Kuechly's legacy is defined not just by his tackles and accolades, but by his integrity, his willingness to walk away, and his ongoing influence on the game and player safety. In the end, if you want more stories about incredible NFL minds and the shocking moments that shape their careers, hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments below, who do you think is the smartest player in NFL history?